we'll get started here, and we'll let a couple other people join us as they get to the meeting here. But welcome everyone to 1 Million Cups Eau Claire, Eau Claire's weekly entrepreneurial meetup. 1 Million Cups is a national movement founded by the Kauffman Foundation to celebrate entrepreneurship for businesses that are 5 years or younger. But in Eau Claire, we will sometimes feature businesses that are a little bit older than 5 years or are established legacy businesses in the Eau Claire area to kind of feature a new direction that they're going or a pivot that they're maybe making. Today, we have Christian Peterson of Outdoor More, Inc. presenting on what they are doing as a new business here in Eau Claire. So I'll kick it over to you, Christian. You can take it away.
Sounds good. Thanks, Adam. Like you said, I'm Chris Peterson. Formerly worked for Benedict's Refrigeration for the last 3.5 years, and recently started with a company called Cedar Falls Building Systems, a general contractor in the area. Outdoor More is a nonprofit that I'm involved in that is basically reinventing Pinehurst Park. I have with me Skip Catardi.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for having us.
Skip is one of the originals at Pinehurst Park, and he's got a little story to tell once I kind of wrap up my side of things, and just to kind of go in a little deeper. The whole idea of Pinehurst Park started really back in 2009. My kids and I developed a place in Menominee called Dunn County Snow Park. That park was viewed by a lot of the teachers at the elementary school as kind of an asset to help kids get motivated, because they saw kids getting motivated that weren't motivated before. And it became a local snow park, little biking area, and really met a lot of people, really interesting, great people. And Phil Fever from the Eau Claire Parks Department caught wind of it because of the reputation that it had, and he asked if we can kind of bring that idea to Eau Claire. And so in 2012, we formed a group of basically ski, bike, snowboard enthusiasts, and created the Pinehurst Project. Outdoor More was actually created as a nonprofit about 2 years after that. So if anybody set up a nonprofit before, it's really not an easy task, and it took a full 2 years to make it happen. So it's a lot of work. We have an amazing group. They consist of, like, our VP on the board is Craig Manthe from Momentum Fitness, board treasurer Damian Hornicke, he's the CFO over at McCabe Construction. Andy Weems, we got Skip Catardi, we have a teacher that does a lot of our dirt jump and disc golf stuff. His name is Cody Curry. We have a grant writer, her name is Jennifer Rock, and we have a couple other people on the board as well. It's just kind of the list goes on. We've got a lot of great people involved, so a lot of enthusiasm behind it. The park itself has been really, it's sat quiet from like 1980s when the ski and snowboard facility shut down, because it used to have that history. All the way back from 1951 is when it originally opened up as a ski hill in Eau Claire. There's even history back behind that as well. So it goes back a long ways. Arnie Domer, and then Skylar Van Gordon. I think Skylar's still around, Skip Van Gordon. They were one of the originals back in the day, and it's kind of interesting to hear some of their stories. And ran into Skip randomly at a supper club recently in the last couple of weeks, and I really didn't know it was him until after we started conversation, started striking up about Pinehurst Park. It was kind of cool to hear some of the more history. So Pinehurst Park itself, it's on the north side of town. If anybody doesn't know where it's at, it's kind of tucked back by like Hobbs's Bar or Locust Lane Elementary School. It's tucked back in the neighborhood. It's about 60 acres. There's about 40 acres of open area, and then there's about 20 acres of trees. And so currently we have, I think you can kind of see my screen up here. I believe I have it shared. Just kind of bounced through a few things. This was the original park, the way it looked before we got there. So really just, there's a ton of trees in the way. You can kind of see this is all solid trees. I'll show you a few pictures here in a second that shows it a lot different. So you can kind of see the 1950s. There was actually a ski team that won state championship in their second year in competition over in Wausau. So they've had some talent right here in the city. So this was in the 80s, basically when it was shut down. You can kind of see the openness of no trees, and they had a rope tow. They had a good crew, kind of like ours, motivated to make something happen there. So this is our current winter map. So we have developed, free sledding area still exists. We do have a current hiking, snowboard park and terrain park. We are currently planning to install a paddle tow, a mechanical lift here in the fall. We own it. We had gotten a grant for it, and really excited to put that in. Trying to figure out the operation side of it. There's a boarded hockey rink. There's a general rink. We have a brand new playground out there, and there's a warming shelter. And then we also added in several miles of cross-country ski trail, and they're all lit. It's the only lit cross-country ski trails that the city owns or is involved in. The county has Tower Ridge, I believe, has lights, but we're the only ones in the area that have lit trails for cross-country ski. There's a nice green loop, and there's also that blue with a couple of black sections too. So it gets pretty intense on that run. This is our summer trails. So none of this was here when we started in 2012, and the summer side of it is a very progressive gravity type style bike riding. So you take this long trail, which is a lot of work to get up to the top. It's called Stairway to Heaven, and everything hubs off right here. And then from here, you can go any way we want. And basically, it's all gravity fed. So you almost don't have to pedal at all, which is nice. And there's a lot of features, progressive features like jumps, gaps, road gaps now. And we have, so it's a wide variety. We have a new trail called Fern Sniper, which is probably one of the more progressive in the area in comparison to some of the bigger ski hill areas that offer biking. So our goal is to get operational here this fall. We've been working really hard with the city to set up some kind of operations. So with that paddle tow, we'd have the ability to have tubing operations, so we can get kids on the hill, get them introduced to sliding around. Sledding is always going to be free. That's all through the city. There's going to be a section that's always free, so there's never going to be something taken away from the park the way it's been. General skating, that's also free, so it's always been there. We hope to have a little bit more of a gear sharing program. We had one last year, so we offered snowshoes for free, ice skating, broom hockey stuff, gear that you can borrow and share. We got to figure out on the COVID side of it how that's all going to be handled. Downhill skiing is a goal. There's a lot that goes into place with downhill skiing, but that's a major goal of ours, to use that mechanical lift for tubing in ski and snowboard. Have some local races, have some events. We held an event last year. It was called basically a slalom race for snowboarders, and it was very well attended. I'll show you a picture in a little bit of that. We do have snowboard features, so you can kind of see boxes and rails. Currently, we just have to hike the hill until we get that mechanical lift in, and then we'll look at increasing the features. Some of the stuff was built by local, was dynamic fabrication. They built some of the rails and boxes for us. Otherwise, a lot of it was brought over from Dunn County Snow Park. We used to have a groomer. We recently sold this guy. We weren't quite ready for it. We bought it a little bit premature, so we will be getting a new one. This one now sits up in Deepwoods Lodge in Wheeler, which is a new ski and snowboard facility that's being revamped up in Wheeler as well. Cross-country ski. So a lot of people use Pinehurst to train because it's got the lighted trails, so they're able to use it. The city grooms it, so our group does not groom it. So we built it. We built the trails. We put the lights in. The lighting project was probably $120,000 project, which would have been the normal value of it. We got it done for about $20,000 through volunteer donations and all that stuff. So it's pretty impressive, the community that got around this project. So biking is huge out there. We talked about it already, but the progressive features, we do have a dirt jump area. This is one of the latest features here. It's called a road gap. It's probably one of the biggest features in Wisconsin for biking. It's about 25-foot road gap, not for everybody, but it is for quite a few that enjoy it out there. So we do all of our own trail building. We do all of our own trail maintenance, 100% volunteer. And it's pretty impressive, the diversity and the groups that are involved in the project. It's a lot of fun. This picture here was from that race we had. Skip came up with the idea for the slalom race, and it's not just a slalom race. There's jumps involved, and it's speed. And it was at night, and he built a starting gate for it, and we had just such a big crowd come out. This is just a small crowd that could potentially be using the park in the future. So it was an amazing time. Right now our goal is to get that mechanical lift in. We did get a grant for a disc golf course that's being put in right now. So Cody Curry is in charge of that. We got about 5 holes in right now, and we continue to kind of push forward and get the baskets up. Still a lot of work to happen there, but like I said, 100% volunteer. We do it in the evenings and weekends when we can get there. So we got more lights planned. We have over 45 lights that are lighting up those trails, which is a lot. All LED, so it doesn't use a ton of power, which is kind of nice. We do have a goal of building a asphalt pump track out there. We do have city approval for that. We're going to slow down just a little bit, kind of get the stuff we're getting taken care of now on the winter side up and running, and then we'll go back to building that asphalt pump track. So lots of big things happening. But I want to turn this over to Skip. Skip is one of the originals that used Pinehurst Park when he was a kid and really took it to a whole new level, basically, of a career with it. So, Skip.
So yeah, my history, I grew up on the north side of Eau Claire, snowboarding there on the nights and the weekends. Was always something that, kept myself and all my buddies out of trouble and things. And when I was a senior in high school, I started getting local sponsors and things that were giving me free gear. And before you know it, I ended up winning some contests, Midwest contests, and I ended up getting some corporate sponsors, including Burton Snowboards, Gravis Shoes, Anon Goggles, Oakley, Black Flies, Miller Brewing Company. But I spent 14 years competing as a professional athlete, traveling the world snowboarding. And the reason I got involved in Pinehurst Park is I've seen firsthand how much it can change somebody's life and turn their life into a fairy tale. And I needed to give back. And I wanted to give the kids in the community the opportunity to be able to share something that changed my life so dramatically for so many years.
Yeah, many of you have probably heard of Burton Snowboards, and it's a big industry. He spent 14 years with some of the pioneers of the sport, and the stuff that Skip accomplished in that career was pretty impressive. And it's good. It's great to have him involved in the project again. He lives in Eau Claire, and we're just going to make this happen. And the name speaks for itself. Outdoor More. That's the whole goal, is to get not just kids and us outdoor more. It's families, and create Pinehurst Park is a feeder hill. So this hill will really not be meant for a destination point. It's meant to get kids introduced to the sport and then go somewhere else. We've got a lot of stories from families that used to ride Pinehurst Park in the 70s and 80s, and they still will mention the fact that this is where they started. Their family now travels all over and visits ski hills, and it's all because of Pinehurst Park. So our goal is to bring that all back, and we've got really good momentum, and I appreciate the opportunity to tell you a little bit more about it. It's exciting, and we can open up for questions.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris and Skip. So if there are any questions, you can feel free to open up that participants tab and raise your hand, hit the raise your hand button, and we can unmute you one by one. If you're joining us live on Facebook, you can comment on our video and I can intersperse those in. And I've also got the chat open, so if you don't want to ask on camera, you can also drop it in there. I see we've got a question right away from Becca.
Sorry, I'll catch up. So So you had talked about some of your attractions being free forever, and then some will presumably have a fee. Is your nonprofit going to be the collector of that fee, or is that the city parks department? And I don't know, talk to me about what you're thinking on that plan.
Yep, we're working with the city parks department now on a collaboration. So they have staff that's out there all winter long, and then we have our stuff. So we're helping kind of a collab operations type of thing. So it's not going to be 100% all of us. The only time you're going to need to spend money out there is if you're using the mechanical lift. So if you rent a tube and use the mechanical lift, there'll be a fee to that. And same with skiing and snowboarding. We'll end up having concessions and stuff out there as well, but everything else will be free. I mean, we have no intentions on charging for biking, disc golf, and stuff like that, and sledding. I mean, we just want people to get out there and enjoy it.
Yeah. Is there like a model that you're following, like another city? Is it the Dunn County one is similar to this, or are you kind of adapting this to the hill?
Yeah, so like Sylvan Hill in Wausau, they have a tubing area. It's county run. So similar there. Same with like Highland Hills is a good model. That's over in Bloomington. That's I think it's very similar size to what Pinehurst is, maybe just a little bit bigger, even a little bit shorter. But they have a $4 million operating budget, 500 seasonal employees, and 7 full-time employees. So you can kind of imagine just the ability it gave kids to get introduced to the sport, work in the sport, and then use it to kind of go off. So Highland Hills is a major model of what we're trying to do. So
okay, good, thank you.
Yep.
Nick.
Yeah, will there be any opportunities for educational for kids? I got an 8-year-old that would like to ski. Fortunate, one of our commercial lenders at the bank is actually on the ski patrol at Afton, so he's offered a teacher. But will there be opportunities for kids to learn how to ski out there?
So we definitely want to. Currently, we have snowboard lessons set up through the city. I think last year we took a year off last year, but we're getting back into it. We had it like 4 or 5 years in a row there. So Saturdays, we'll probably make an adjustment, but depending on COVID stuff, we'll have ski and snowboard lessons that'll be through the city on the prime time stuff. And then once we get operational, we will have ski and snowboard lessons. They'll be taught by some of the youth in the area that have the ability to teach. So thanks for the question.
Yeah, keep throwing your questions out in the chat or raise your hand in the participants tab. Chris, as far as an operating model goes, who is in charge of like the management of employees and management of facilities at the park? Is that Outdoor More, or is that the City of Eau Claire? Or is it like a collaboration between the two of you?
It is. So when we first started and built Outdoor More, we actually leased the land from the city for like $1. We expected to get operational a little bit sooner than what we were. Took a lot more. We didn't realize how much it was going to take to get an operational ski hill going, but things have changed from the 70s and 80s to have something like that set up. So now I've changed it to like a memorandum of understanding with the city, so it's a little bit less on our insurance, but it's a city park. We're just there to make it better. It's kind of one of our first projects too. I mean, we have goals of other stuff, but Pinehurst has been our main goal.
Excellent. And I guess looking into the future, what are some other projects that you're maybe looking at, or other ideas that you've got for where your nonprofit of Outdoor More is going in the future?
Nothing specific set aside. Once we get get the operations going, then we'll start looking at some other areas, and definitely, collaborate with some other organizations around, because we're not. Corba is the local bike organization. They do a really, really good job with all the bike trails in the area. Our trails are a little bit more progressive, so we kind of have our own separate entity from that, but we definitely collaborate on stuff here and there. So
excellent. Someone in the chat is wondering about barriers to getting started and getting community support and funding to projects like this. What barriers have you kind of encountered, and maybe how have you overcome them?
Yeah. Raising money is definitely not easy. We started off with grants, and then we're going back to grants. So we've done a lot of community letters going out and getting sponsorships. We realized, sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not. And then really it's just about, being consistent with your sponsors. So we're actually going to change it up a little bit this year and give more of a value added type of fundraising opportunity. We're looking at a 1-month calendar right now that we'll be selling to about 2,000 people. And it'll be give away a bike or a snowboard every day of the week. Is kind of our goal. So it's value added. You are giving your money to something will give something back to you. And it's going to be worked out. Details on that will be worked out a little bit later on. And we're even going to do a raffle on first snow, last snow. So you can provide some money and get some money back if you win the dates and the choices of all that stuff. So more information will come on that. And we're looking at doing another food event out there. We're just trying to figure out the COVID stuff. We're gonna do like a buffalo burn, is what Skip calls it. Some buffalo meat, and kind of have all of those things happening at one time. So.
As well as we're looking into getting rental equipment on site as well.
Yep. And all that stuff takes money, so you know how that goes.
Yeah. Laura has a question here.
Hi, so you talked about being a feeder hill.
Yep.
So I'm not super familiar with the industry and the sport, but obviously by existing, you're benefiting other hills in the area and other parks because you're sending, introducing kids to the sport, and then they're going to these other facilities.
Yep.
Is there any other way that you plan to collaborate or that you collaborate with those other hills that benefits you in any way? Are there, incentives kind of to coming to your park and going to multiple parks, or partnerships, and what does that look like?
Yep, absolutely, great question.
It's a really great question.
We've talked to Christie Mountain, and we've talked to a couple other places, and until we get a little bit further in the operation stage, some of those are just kind of wish list things and partnerships. So once we get operational, we'll have a little bit more of an anchor to be able to solidify those partnerships. But we definitely want to get involved with Afton Alps. Bruce Mount is another model too that we are similar to, I should say. They are county run, ski hill and all that stuff. So like Christie Mountain, we'll get involved with Deepwoods Lodge, which will be operational here in the next couple of years, and definitely, hopefully provide some kind of asset to them and then to us as far as like if it's free lessons or if it's a free lift ticket or something all around. So there's a lot of details that need to be worked out, but we definitely do plan on having that connection to all those ski hills. So
Cool, thank you.
that's a good question.
As well as the house board shop and the Stash bike shop, and there's a lot of other people in the industry as far as manufacturers and things like that have expressed a lot of interest to try to help us out as well.
Yep.
Awesome.
Cool.
Elaine.
Sorry, I don't know why that happens, but my whole screen shifts and then I gotta find you guys again. Anyway, hello, thank you for presenting. Excited to hear about this. Can you talk about what the culture is in our area in regards to snowboarding and skiing, and what that looks like during the off season, and just how you keep people engaged and excited to come back during the winter months?
Oh, absolutely. We've definitely had a culture shift. So Eau Claire Bike and Sport was kind of the original snowboard shop in the area. They've closed, but that's where Skip got his original opportunity from. So really having a core shop. Right now, Stash Bike and Adventure is the next core shop for action sports. I mean, obviously there's a bunch of other ones that sell snowboards. Stash has really invested some time in training kids and teaching kids and getting them involved in the winter side of it and the summer side of it as well with the biking. So we definitely have a little bit of a niche when it comes to our biking side of it. I mean, everything's pretty progressive. There's some small stuff out there, but there's also some big scary stuff out there too. So I've
been riding the small stuff because I shattered my ankle on January 1st. So I've been riding the small stuff with the kids.
But what's cool is we've seen kids, start on the small stuff and take it all the way to the big stuff. And now those kids are going to go to other bike places, and it'll help them with their confidence and their ability to go wherever they want with those sports. So same with the snowboarding side of it as well. It's a cool culture in this town with our snowboard and action sports, groups. There's a lot of us out there. So.
Caden is a perfect example of a guy that just graduated from high school that got an offer from a different company. What's the name of that company?
Rock Solid Trail Construction. So
go ahead and carry on.
Caden was I think he was 17 when I met him. He worked at a lot of trail building at Pinehurst Park. So I met him in the woods, young kid, high school kid, and he ended up being one of our main trail builders throughout the last couple of years. He now went off to work for a trail builder in Wisconsin and Minnesota. So he's working up in Copper Harbor. He's working up in Red Flint or Upper Minnesota by Duluth. And he'll end up going to Arkansas over the wintertime to help build trails down in Bentonville. So, that's another story right there. He's a very talented kid, and he's going to take those talents that he learned at Pinehurst Park and then keep learning and keeping that passion going. There's many, many more stories like that. So it's a lot of fun.
Becca.
Hi, I had another question. So back to your barriers, like what do you need right now? Is it community support? Is it investments? Is it people to buy your product when it's ready? Like, talk to me about that.
Yep. Right now, our next phase is we need to remodel the hill a little bit. So we're going to put in a cat track across the top, do some earthwork out there. We're supposed to do that earlier in the spring, but we had to cut trees down, and then summer came. So we have American Express and Brown Excavating are going to help and basically donate their time and machinery to remodel the hill. So we had a lot to get done, but they got busy with summer work because obviously construction started. So we're going to move that off to the fall. So when it works for them, we'll get the hill remodeled, make some of the physical adjustments, get it reseeded on the spots it needs, and then plan for the installation of that paddle tow. Once that's installed, in the background, we're working with the city parks department on operations and what that's going to look like. There's still a lot that needs to be done with that, but when it comes to what we need, money's great. We do have some to get things rolling. We do want to find a way to sustainably keep this place going, and that's going to be through the operations of the wintertime. Mm-hmm. We do want to find a way to get some core sponsors back on board. We do have, if you go to pinehurstpark.org, we do have a list of the sponsors that are on our website, which is on the front banner. We also have it on a drop-down menu. It shows all the sponsors that I've given to the project. So we just kind of we'll go back and revisit a lot of those sponsors, but we really want to give something value added, like we talked about in the fundraising side of it. We don't want to just keep asking for money. We want to give something back while we're asking for money. So said free bike, free snowboard, stuff like that. So.
Do you have like a marketing plan right now to get people, not the funding part, but just to get people to try it? Like I've been here my whole life and I have kids and all that stuff. And this is kind of new to me. I mean, I'm aware of Pinehurst Park. I had no idea most of the things in your tour. I had no idea of any of that stuff.
Okay.
So I'm just wondering, like, how are you doing the marketing? When it's ready, are you doing the marketing? Do you kind of have a plan?
Yeah, that'll be work. Yeah, we do have somewhat of a game plan for that, but we're all volunteers. We all have full-time jobs, so we do what we can. We post on Facebooks and Instagram and stuff like that. We do have a newsletter that we try and get out once every quarter, so you can sign up for that on our website as well. But as far as investing the money into marketing, we haven't quite gone there yet. So really, it's been through the city, it's been through our social media networks, and so if you follow us on there, you'll definitely see some good activity and some of the updates as well. So we try to keep that moving.
We did have some neat ideas for some things. We were Mountain Festival. It was going to be at the Pablo Center, but obviously with COVID that got canceled.
It did, yeah.
That was kind of discouraging at the time.
Yeah, we've been a part of a lot of the like the film festival. We'll have a booth there set up, and we try and get involved in a few of those opportunities when they come up. So we'll try and get the word out a little bit better on our side and make sure everybody is aware.
Good, thank you.
I dropped the newsletter link in the chat there if anybody here is interested in signing up for that. Another question that came up, and I think it might have been answered, but so you're planning on charging for your rental equipment, but at this point you just don't have the rental equipment to charge for it, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
We do have a gear sharing program out there, but it doesn't include the skis and snowboards right now.
Yeah.
We're just really got to get that rope tow in to give us, some clout and get that part moving. So
Awesome. Elaine.
Hi again. So no one wants to talk about COVID because it's COVID, but
Yep.
what kind of precautions are you putting in place? And are you kind of using that maybe in the winter months to get people out of the house, as we've been cooped up anyways, and it's hard in the winter? So I guess you can talk to, kind of challenges it will present and maybe any pivots you've made and how you'll use that to get people out of the house this winter.
yeah, we don't know what the COVID thing will look like here in the next winter, but our goal is to kind of utilize the ability to be outdoors, but when it comes to precautions of handling of tickets and paddle tow and rentals and stuff like that, we'll just have to set up protocols to make sure everybody's safe. But it's just what a weird, crazy time, and it's hard to plan for something that can't be planned for sometimes. But the goal would be just to always keep things safe. So, but being outdoors, when we're out building trail, we definitely are, keeping some distance. We try not to share tools the best we can and keep things safe. So, hopefully, I answered that question.
Excellent. Nick has another question here.
Yep.
Well, 2 questions. I found the one. I'm in the Newton Rotary Club. I'm going to shoot you an email to try and see if you would want to present to that group. There's a number of folks in there that might be interested in hearing about it. But is there any partnership with the university? Is there a snowboard club? Obviously kids go to Eau Claire from Minnesota, Michigan, Illinois, all over the place. Is there any girls groups or had any of those conversations with university students?
The head of the university's ski and snowboard.
And we've talked to them in the past. Obviously students change every so often, so it's a constant keeping in touch. But they ski and snowboard club, we'd love to get them more involved, definitely. There's a lot that kind of goes into that. We're going to start offering with staff and stuff, like free wax nights, for the ski and snowboard club, kind of get a face with a name so we can get connected with some of those people a little bit better and keep that relationship moving along. But yeah, we've definitely done it in the past. Now we just need to kind of keep that rolling as students change. So,
Nick, did you have a second part to that, or was that both?
I'm good, thanks.
Okay, awesome. Elaine here.
Hi again. So sounds like you guys have connections to maybe some other pro athletes. Do you ever plan on bringing any of them in to do guest lessons or speaking to things or things like that, tapping into your network?
Yeah, I'm sure I'll be having some of my friends from Tahoe.
Cool. Yeah.
Bill buddies back and put on a little show. So we definitely want to do some events this next year, and it really pivots around that paddle tow. So getting that paddle tow in and getting operations going will bring a lot of people back. We get a lot of messages. When's the paddle tow getting put in? Once the paddle tow is put in, then we'll come. So it's a lot of people aren't interested in hiking the hill. Things will change. It's kind of one of those. If you build it, they will come. That applies here. Definitely, we'd love to have some pros come and.
Excellent. Anne here has a question.
Yeah, thanks for presenting today. I'm not always so great on keeping up on the local news, but I'm just kind of wondering, have you done the press releases and tried to tap into some free, if you will, some free press through Volume 1 or the newspapers, TV stations?
Yeah. We have in the past, so we could definitely do a new reburst. Volume One's done a couple articles on us, and then we've had a couple of TV things happen out there. When we finished the dirt jump area, they came out and did a video. We'll probably do that again with the disc golf course to kind of get that re-injected and utilize that free. Yeah, we need to stay a little bit more on top of some of that press stuff, and I definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, it seems like a good time for some positive.
It does, doesn't it?
Outdoor news like that. So yeah, thank you.
I appreciate the comments.
We'll go to Sarah here in a second. Someone in the chat, Brett, dropped, it's okay not to have a marketing plan in this stage. You can third-party those services to a local or national agency in time. So kind of once you do get your operations started, really thinking about how you want to market that is definitely something to be thinking about, but not necessarily something that's vital to you at this point, I think is what he's saying there.
Yeah, and we really want to focus on local. So I mean, we're going to get information out to the high schools, the elementary schools, the middle schools, and really use that core to kind of give us that base. Kind of go from there. So.
Excellent. Sarah.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for presenting today. This is really great information. One of the things that I thought of is Winter Mission, which has been kind of a push here in Eau Claire. And I'm wondering if you've connected with that at all, because I bet that combined you could probably get some good buzz going.
Yes, and we actually connected with them a couple years ago, and they helped bring Winter After Hours to Pinehurst. So we did start doing Winter After Hours with Volume 1 every Thursday in January and February. So that was a great collaboration there. Emily Berge, council member for the north side of Eau Claire there, and she's been a huge asset to us the last few years, especially with the Winter Mission side of it.
Nice, good.
Had a Zoom meeting with the Winter Mission team a few months ago and just kind of recapped on the year and how things went, and we'll definitely keep that going. But that's been a great opportunity here in town, is that Winter Mission to kind of get that help get that word out. So
absolutely.
Yep. Thank you.
So Chris, for me as someone that doesn't really cross-country ski and doesn't really mountain bike, where would you send someone like me that maybe wants to get involved with Pinehurst Park and start using what you're creating out there? Where would you send someone like me that doesn't know where to even start in this situation?
You know, on the biking side of it, we have a ton of great local trails. I mean, Corba does an amazing job. So like Lowe's Creek is a little bit more of a chill setting for biking, so you can get into the single track a little bit more. You know, Hickory Hills up in Bloomer, we have Area 157, we have Otter Creek. The list goes on of what we have as an asset in this town for the biking side of it. Cross-country ski, Tower Ridge is really the only one that I know of around here. I know there's some additional cross-country ski being put in at Silvermine right now. One of our guys on our board is actually involved in some of that because they have snowmaking ability for early season, and that was our goal too, is to have the snowmaking side of things. Just the infrastructure that goes into that is a little bit more than what we can handle right now. But once we do have the snowmaking ability with city water and chilling towers, we will do early season snowmaking so we can get kids in on the snow earlier, training, and I guess anybody getting started a little bit earlier in the season. So
awesome. Aaron asked in the chat, what's your fundraising goal for the next year? Or what's maybe a projected number that you'd like to get to?
Yep. Right now, it's so weird because we have a lot of stuff getting donated. We have silt fence and stuff like that. So I mean, if we put a number to that, it's probably $30,000 in work that's going to be done out there, but that's going to be done for free. So fundraising goals is kind of a little bit different. But I mean, we have some money right now to install the paddle tow and then help operations get started. I mean, I'd love to throw out a number for fundraising goals. It's just kind of hard to, just because we have so much being donated. I don't want to make up a number that the couple things we're going to do is, you know, like when it comes to tubes and rental equipment, we're definitely going to need to find some sponsors for that. You know, it's going to be probably $5,000 in tubes. You know, we do want to do a sponsorship for the paddle tow, as far as on each paddle, on the paddle toe, we want to do a sponsorship for each one, so you can purchase it and it'll have a company name on it. So we're going to do something like that. That'll help us hit some of those goals for the installation, and then hopefully supplying enough money for some of the rental equipment. And we got to figure out too with the city, because the city doesn't have a lot of money to give towards this project. They just have some of the ability to have the labor and infrastructure in there for the operation side of it. So we're definitely not in their budget right now for this, but we're a little bit on our own on some of that stuff.
Excellent. Ingrid.
Yeah, hi. Good morning. Sometimes your audio goes in and out, so I've heard some of it clearly and some of it not. So if I'm repeating something, just let me know.
Okay.
My kids go to Wildland School, and they have a biking team, mountain biking team there. Are those kind of organizations supporting this at all around the area?
Yep. The Wildlands comes out and trains at Pinehurst Park. So I mean, we've definitely seen them out there and stuff. And
are you getting financial support from people like that? I don't know. I mean, I'm not putting my school on the spot. I'm just saying I know that they exist. So
yeah, we currently, don't get financial support from that, but we get financial support from like Eric's Bike Shop. Just send us a $500 check, and there's a lot of people like that. So I mean, the cross country ski team, ski striders, they usually donate to us every year.
Yeah,
we have some donations from Kiwanis Club that are pretty consistent.
Cool.
Yeah, we need to. There's so many groups out there, and we just need to kind of consistently keep in touch.
Yeah.
I wish this was my full-time job, but it's not.
Nick in the chat dropped Leadership Eau Claire through the Eau Claire Chamber is looking for projects, and it might be a good idea to maybe submit a marketing plan to them to kind of develop. They can't do fundraisers and things, but they can do things like set up a marketing plan for a nonprofit.
Really good idea to get some help from local leaders, for sure. I appreciate that.
Liz also asked, could you speak a little bit more about how you're reaching out to schools and their clubs, like the Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, etc.?
Oh boy, it's kind of who we're connected to. Like whoever's on a board is connected to this person. So we definitely need to do a better job of getting injected into those schools. So we don't really have the perfect formula right now for that, and we could definitely do a better job, of making those connections. I mean, we're connected to quite a few of the groups, and like I said, there's a lot of groups and schools and stuff like that. So we could definitely use some help in that. So if there's any community members that want to get involved, kind of help make those connections happen, we would definitely love it. So is it coming through a little better? Awesome, yeah. Thanks.
Liz, did you have a follow-up to that?
Yeah, thanks, Adam. Excuse me. Morning, everyone. So I think that just getting in front of those groups like you are now with us and giving this type of presentation and, showing the equipment to the kids for, I know that Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, they always enjoy having visitors, and just showing the equipment, that is going to get the kids excited, and then they're going to talk to their parents, and then it's going to just kind of snowball from there, no pun intended. And then you'll be able to get them more involved at like a younger level. And then for like the middle school and high school, I would recommend trying to do more with social media, and maybe, even once they are at the park and actually getting involved with the activities you have there, do, different little social media challenges, because that's really a lot of how they communicate. And then that's also helping your pages and whatnot get more action and get more visibility too. So yeah, I think that really reaching out to that youth is going to be a good starting point. I know you guys have a lot already, but just keep having at it, I think, is going to be a good plan. And thank you for presenting.
I totally agree. So I appreciate that. And with Skip, we can utilize him as story behind it, and his love for professional athletes. And we got one right here in town that came from Pinehurst Park, originally. So definitely utilize that a little bit more. We might be doing some more speaking.
I always look forward to talking to the kids.
Keep it up.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
A couple things in the chat here. Ingrid asked, are you hoping to build your nonprofit towards 1 or 2 full-time positions rather than hoping for help from the community on a lot of different fronts?
Yes, we would love to have an executive director. So if fundraising was our goal, like a certain thing, that would probably be it. To help to find that core person that's beyond, that's going to help run the board, help run the fundraising, help write grants, help.
And then Sarah, in kind of conjunction with Liz's comment there, from a social media perspective, consider being on platforms that the kids are using the most, like Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok. Those are kind of 3 big ones that are really engaging.
We have an Instagram page. It is, wait for it, Pinehurst Project, or at Pinehurst Project as our Instagram page. So we are pretty active on that. Facebook has been, it's gone quiet here the last couple weeks just because we haven't spent a lot of time out there because it's been so warm. But and we keep track of all of our photos. Every photo that's taken out there gets put into a Google photo thing. So we kind of have access to a lot of good marketing stuff. And I agree. TikTok we have not looked at. It's a little bit outside of my realm right now. And then Snapchat, we'll definitely look at doing that because that'd be kind of fun to have a Pinehurst Park Snapchat. I love that idea.
Awesome. Aaron also asked, have you ever considered a community membership? Maybe something like a small amount to support you financially, reasonable for families if they can, but to really help solidify that community aspect of being a part of the park.
Yep. Just need to figure out, how to flesh that out. So definitely would love some more input.
Awesome.
I wonder if something like what Beaver Creek does would work for that membership, because I feel like it's a real attainable membership amount. So you might just see what their model is.
Okay, I'll check that out. Appreciate that.
Awesome. Thanks, Ingrid. Brett, in a follow-up to the TikTok, Instagram, just said, remember that parents are on Facebook buying things. So that's another, just when you're trying to drive revenue, remember the parents are mostly on Facebook. So.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
All right. Anne, this will be probably the last question here. We're running short on time.
So it's not even really a question. I like the membership idea, but I just, I've been listening and my kids are grown, so I'm a little bit out of the stage. I'm not the biker that would go there, but I'm just heartened by this. I really want to thank you. I know you have other jobs and you're doing it volunteer, you too, and many others. And just as a community member, I'm really excited about what you're doing, and I think it's great. So thanks so much for all your work.
Appreciate that feedback. That means a ton. And
good.
Keep going. My youngest, when I started Dunn County Snow Park, my oldest was 12 years old. He's now 23 or 22 right now. So I have no more kids that are below 18. So I'm kind of in that same boat, but I'm going to keep going because this is my passion. I've always loved sharing my adventures. Same with Skip and all of us on this group is sharing our adventures, teaching the next generation, and really focusing on giving back, getting outdoor more, and being positive. So
that's awesome. Thanks for all your work.
Appreciate that.
We're going to let Brooke in here real quick before we ask our last question.
Sorry, I'm always late to the party. Just wondering if you guys have considered connecting with Junior Achievement. And the reason I'm asking that is a lot of times they will do a speaker at school functions. Like last year they used Blue Ox Running a lot. And when I'm volunteering in the classrooms, a lot of kids say they want to be professional athletes. And I'm not going to burst their bubble because maybe they really will be one. But Skip, I think you could bring a really interesting perspective to the kids that are very impressionable about how you got to where you got to, and just kind of giving them that. So just a thought for you guys.
To be honest with you, when I lived out in the mountains, I used to do motivational speeches for the kids all the time. And I used to take inner city school kids up to the mountain for the weekend and then give them the opportunity to get that. And I guess as I've gotten older, I guess I got away from that just because of the fact that, well, to be honest with you, I felt like when I got to a certain point in my career, where I walked away. And I couldn't keep up with some of the tricks that the younger kids were doing anymore, because I'm 42 years old now. And it's not realistic to think that I could do a quadruple backflip now like the kids are. And so I felt like I was kind of like, in a way, like this is my own insecurity, but I felt like I was washed up and that maybe I didn't have to offer them. You know what I mean? Because they would see the kids on the X Games now doing things that I can't do. And so I'm going to think about that. I think that would be good. I appreciate you bringing that up.
I think they would really, really like to connect with you on stuff. And then that would be a great way too to expose kids to Pinehurst that hadn't heard of it before. So
Awesome.
Thank you for that feedback.
All right, so we always ask the final question of our presenters, what can we as a community do for you?
Share, and share more. So if you see somebody and somebody's talking about winter sports or biking, bring up Pinehurst Park, share them, share our social media posts. Start doing a little bit more posting now, especially with it popping up here. And yeah, share, get the word out, help everything there. And if you know somebody in an organization, send them our way and get us connected, and we'll definitely do a good job at collaborating as best we can. So.
And I'm sure you wouldn't be opposed if anyone was financially able to contribute by donating to them as well. So
there's we have a list of stuff that we'll be sending out for fundraising stuff. So we'll definitely be in touch with more information if anybody does want to give. I think one of the cool stories, I'm just going to take 2 seconds to say this. I don't remember his name, but there was an older guy that was in an assisted living, and he taught his kids how to ski at Pinehurst Park back in the 70s and 80s. And he ended up contacting us and donated like $10,000, of his retirement to Pinehurst Park. And I sat down with him in a senior living facility and just listened to his story after story after story. And it was just, it really melted my heart. And we have a picture of him on our Facebook page, but that was a couple years ago. But there's more of those out there. There's more stories. There's parents and kids that have been here before in the past, and we're just trying to get that back. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Chris and Skip, for presenting today. I think this was really cool to hear from a local business that's doing some really cool things in the area.
Appreciate the invite, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah, thank you. I think that will wrap us up for the day. So we will see you again next week, same time, same place. Thank you, everybody.